Hi, everyone. I'm here with my friend Yoda on Dagobah, and today we are going to be looking at a couple of the basic building blocks of argument. That is the rhetorical situation and Aristotle's appeal. So let's get started. So I'm going to share my screen here. And I have created this Google Jamboard to talk about how these elements all work together. So starting with the rhetorical situation, which by definition is just a relationship among 5 different elements. And this concerns any writing project that you might undertake. So the first part of it is the message. What is the message that is part of the writing project? So what is it that is being conveyed? For our purposes, we will look at arguments. So arguments or messages are created by somebody, by a writer or a speaker, or it might even be multiple people. What is being created is the message. So for our purposes, mostly that will be the writer of a text or might even be you. And that text, that message usually goes out to an audience. That audience may be one person, it may be multiple people. If the message is going out on a video or an audio, it could go out in any place, any time. So you don't always know who the audience is. For the texts we'll be reading, you're the audience, but there could be a lot of other different possibilities involved. So those texts are usually written or created with a purpose. There's a reason why those texts are created. Again, for our purposes, most of the texts we'll read, the purpose of the writer or the creator is to persuade or to argue. There are other purposes. If you're reading a story, the writer's purpose is probably to tell that story. The writer might be writing something or speaking something to explain, and so forth. Now, going on all around that, around the writer, the message, the audience, and their reason is the context. And that is all the circumstances that may surround the other elements. So what's going on in the world? What's going on in the writer's world? What led the writer to write this? What is going on historically, psychologically, economically, sociologically? So all of that will influence the writer, it will influence the message, it will influence the audience, it will influence the purpose. So the rhetorical situation is a relationship among these 5 things. So where does Aristotle come in? So Aristotle was a Greek philosopher, of course, and in the 4th century BCE, he decided to give a series of lectures on the art of persuasion, and he coined the term rhetoric to define the available means of persuasion. So he talks about a lot of things in the series of lectures, but what we learn the most about these days are his 5 appeals. You've probably heard of most of them. One of his first is the appeal to logic. That is the use of, what makes sense. Making case using verifiable, reliable facts based on logic. He called this appeal logos. That actually gives us the word logic. He also talks about how the appeal can often come from who the person is, or from the fact that, if you listen to this person and do what they're saying, that's actually a good thing to do. You'll be a better person and you're doing the right thing. So he called that the appeal of ethos. His third appeal that we often hear about is the appeal to emotion. And that could be using emotion within the message itself or creating emotion within the receiver of the message, and maybe even using imagination to do that. And he called that the appeal of pathos. So another appeal that Aristotle knew about was, I'm sending you this message for a reason, and that's part of what I'm trying to convince you of. This is why it's important. And so he called that appeal telos. And finally, the 5th appeal, there's usually stuff going on around the message. What are the economic circumstances? What are the societal circumstances? What is going on in the writer's life? What needs to change because of the stuff that's going on? And so Aristotle understood that can often be a powerful appeal too, and he called that kairos. So as you can see, these 5 appeals actually have a lot to do with our rhetorical situation. We're going to use these appeals and the rhetorical situation as the basic building blocks of both understanding how an argument can be created and evaluated, but also in constructing your own arguments. So if you have any questions about any of this or you want further resources, check out my YouTube channel, and thank you for watching.